Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead, 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 metalhead.
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
What's going on, guys? This is Mark The Fuzz-Man Doss coming at you with yet another unbiased, real review of Arion's newest album, Life Is Not Beautiful, which released on October 19th of 2018. For fans of Sonata Arctica, Stratovarius, Rhapsody of Fire, and even the early days of Kamelot, the Fourth Legacy, Karma, those albums, this album is for you. And it's an album that I've been looking forward to ever since their last album, The Last of Us, came out, and that album crushed. These guys are in their early 20s, doing it big, and they started the band out when they were in fucking high school, and they just straight kill it if you haven't heard it yet. Most notably, their single, well, one of 5 singles actually. It's funny because this album has 5 singles on a 9-track album. But I really like what they did with this too. They wanted to keep the fans entertained, to let them know that this band hasn't just pulled a Necrophagist and has gone off the fucking grid for no reason whatsoever. And they kept releasing singles. First one is the one featuring Elise Rid of Amaranth, called At the Break of Dawn, which is the first song that I've actually heard from this band. I was laying in my bed, back in 2015 with the fucking flu, and for whatever reason I just wanted to look up some Amaranth, and all of a sudden this band comes up in the suggested box called Arion. I really like the name, so I pulled it up, and this song, I kid you not, had probably one of the largest chorus of any song. It's so huge, so dynamic, it's hard to not sing to. It really is. And also a crazy guitar solo just to break things down, to, change the mood of everything. And then it goes back into the chorus, and I don't know. I've never heard a song such as it before. So I waited about, I don't know. It's like I had this feeling come over me where I just wanted to listen to more of this band. I wanted to get a feeling of what this band did. So come to find out, they released an album before then called The Last of Us, which featured a previous vocalist by the name of Viljami Holopainen. No relation to the Tuomas Holopainen of Nightwish. But the guy had an amazing range. I really enjoyed the album for what it was. But for me, Lassie, their new vocalist, really has that rough edge to it. He brings an entirely different setting, a new environment to the band's sound, and pretty much hits every nail into the coffin that was the Last of Us album. In fact, the new album actually came with 3 of the previous tracks from The Last of Us. Those tracks were 7, I Am the Storm, and Last of Us. They were all sang by Lassie, and he killed it. I'm not even gonna lie. I did prefer the originals a little more, but it's nice to have a new flair on, some older material. I really enjoyed that. Now, to talk about some more songs off this album, some of my favorites include Life Is Not Beautiful, the title track, the last song on the album called Last One Falls, and not to mention some of the singles on here, which also were Unforgivable, At the Break of Dawn, No One Stands in My Way, their latest one they just put out called Punish You, which is actually probably the heaviest song on the album. If not that, then the title track is, definitely. And also the very melodic, very melancholy ballad called Through Your Falling Tears, which is a very moving song for those who do like power metal ballads. That's another thing about this band, though, is, bands like Sonata Arctica and Stratovarius and Kamelot were champs at putting out some of the most catchy, soulful ballads of any power metal band out there. So kudos to this band for bringing that back, because for me, I'm not much of a ballad person. To me, that was kind of like for the hair bands at that time, but they added a new flair to this. So kudos to Arion for bringing that back and making me love ballads again. So getting back to the album cover is really interesting too, because for fans of this band, you would know that the previous album, The Last of Us, actually had the same person on the album cover. This girl who had a a pole, like with like some stick with a lantern on it, kind of like looking lost and distraught. Maybe she's on a journey to find new civilization. I don't know. I like to depict like certain stories of certain album covers. Like, what could this mean? Is this album a concept album? Is there a story behind this? You know, going back to what I just said. So we find this same character walking up what looks like a hillside, carrying the same lantern that he or she had in the previous album. So it's really cool that they're bringing this character back into it, because it's almost like that this character is going through what these songs are portraying in the background. It's very cool. And speaking of the songs and what they mean, whether they are a concept, whether they could be interpreted to our daily life, songs like Punish You, talking about being betrayed, the hardships of life, how, you know, life comes back to punish you, kind of like a way of karma working her magic into it, I guess. And also the positive vibes of The Break of Dawn and Unforgivable are some very positive vibes of how we are treating our world, how we're treating the planet Earth. This is our only home, so we should definitely, you know, pick up other methods of taking care of it. Songs as No One Stands in My Way. You know, you're getting off from a bad day of work, you want to come back the next day, and you just don't want to be fucked with. Excuse my language. But this song, for me alone, when the single came out, I was already having a bad day at work, and I turned that song on, and everything seemed better. It seemed like I was invincible. That is the anthemic song on this album. So, for those who are really big into power metal, especially bands like Stratovarius, Sonata Arctica, Rhapsody of Fire, Kamelot, you know, even going into underground territory such as Nocturnal Rites and Heavenly, this is the band for you. I mean that with every fiber of my being. This band is bringing power metal back from the catacombs. As far as, you know, the keyboard solos, the offbeat, fast-paced melodies, crazy neoclassical riffs, and not to mention the theme of it, the thematic themes of power metal. So please, do yourself a favor, pick this album up. Don't be a cheapskate and stream it on Spotify, because this band deserves a lot more than 3 cents on their paycheck. Without further ado, guys, I am Mark the Fuzz-Man Doss, and I will see you in the next album review. Check y'all later.